Before we can bottle the honey, we have to check the percentage of water content in the honey itself. And it's a legal requirement that we mustn't sell honey that has a 20% or more water content. So we can go up to 20%. But what we have to do now is we have to take a reading, and we take a reading using a refractometer. And this is a very simple device to use, and all it's a matter of doing is smearing a layer of honey across there, the glass, pressing it down, and then taking a reading through the glass. So first of all, I'll just get a little bit of honey out of the drum here. You don't need much at all, that's plenty. And then place that across the refractometer glass unit, like so. Like that. You mustn't touch it with your fingers because you've got moisture in your fingers. And once it's covered the whole of the glass, like so, you just have to put the glass down like that. Press so that the whole unit is covered. And there we go. And now we'll just look at the reading and see what the reading comes out like.
So the reading says 16%. So it's just where the blue line is. So it's the bottom of the blue where it turns white. You can see on the right hand side it says 16. And that's the water percentage there. 16, that's very low. Usually it's 17.5%. So we're very happy with that. So in order to sterilise the jars, we put our jars in the oven and set it to 110 degrees, and then we've transferred it to the table ready for bottling.
So our next job is to make sure that we've got the weight right on and the tare right on the scale. So we take one of the jars, place the jar on the scale like so, and then just press the tare, and that brings it down to 0. So we know now that when we fill the jar with honey, we know we've got to fill it to 12 ounces. And here we go, jar number 1 of about 100. Doesn't that look a lovely colour? I always do the first jar, close it down, and just check that we've got the right weight in there to make sure we don't want to undercut anybody. So screw that down. And we put the jar on the scale, and the scale is reading 13, so I overfilled this one, 13.35 ounces. And what we always arrange to do is that we have a 12 ounce amount, but I always go over by about an ounce. So you get about 13 ounces in your jar and not 12. We've just filled up 7 jars just as a demonstration to show you, and the next job, of course, just applying the lid to each one of the jars, like so. Just make sure it's really screwed down nice and tight. And there, now you can just see the honey. It's a very dense honey, and it's got a lovely strong flavour. It's a bit nutty. It's a bit, shall we say, like malt extract. And the spring honey, it always has a stronger, more prominent flavour than the autumn or late honeys. A really, really lovely tasting honey. So the next process is to put the label onto the jar, and these are labels that Keith has very kindly produced for us at Bamford's in Haywood. Thank you, Keith, for these. And there we are.